Good evening. Wow, just like they say, saved by the bell. So we have this program. If I'm sure most of you are familiar, but Tim, you left your mask here. So so we have our series, meditation and spiritism, every last Thursday of the month. This month, the last Thursday falls in Thanksgiving. So we negotiated, Christiane and I, that we had a part one. We talked about this last week, and there's so much good stuff to talk about it. Step into my shoes. So the so this part two, and we took advantage of this like right after, right? Was last Thursday we talked about it. Good. So we're I'll let Cristiane give a recap, but we pretty much separated the part one. We talked about you know another way for us to see how it is step into my shoes. Like usually we're so self-centered that our problem is bigger than everybody else's problem. So uh, Christianity brought a perspective that especially if we compare with how would this apply to Jesus, right? How it is to step into his shoes, and that's really a great message, because then we come to compassion, and I guess compassion was the main theme. So I'll let you give that recap, and then the second part that we're going to talk about tonight, that we thought it would be interesting, is about surrender. How we then move from being in that spot of being the victim of the world is falling into my back and I'm stuck and my problem is so much bigger than anybody else. So don't even come to with your problems to me. Just let me talk about my issues. And then we find ourselves in that cycle of just staying there and not moving forward. So we need to find that place of surrender. So I'll let you, Chris, take over from here, and then we do about 20 minutes of talk, and then the second part will be just meditation itself, and then we'll do it together.
Welcome. Thank you. Good evening. An interesting day sometimes calls for an interesting evening. And this is why I just got here. But I made it.
It's coming from Tampa.
I thought it was a little challenging today, for whatever reason. I'm just going to give a little recap of what we did last week. We were talking about the fact that when we tell other people, step into my shoes so you can see what my life is all about, how hard it is, how unbearable it is. And the suggestion was, can we look at this, flipping this coin and trying to look at it from Jesus' perspective? Instead of us saying, look how hard it is to be in my shoes, how about if we consider how much lighter it would be if we decided to step into his shoes, try to take life from the way he has been trying to teach us. He keeps on knocking on our doors and we keep on saying, later, I'll deal with you later. He's been inviting us to do things kind of his way, and we want to do it kind of our way, and it hasn't been working. It looks like it hasn't been working the way we've been trying. So our goal is to try to go a little bit his way. And we talked a little bit about Spiritism linked to this stepping into my shoe situation. What makes our problems so special? They are so special because we chose them. We actually chose them, and we talked about this last week, and we picked like 3 questions from the Spirit's book that gave us a little scenario on why we go through what we go through. First things first, when we are not here, we are in the spirit world still, before we come to live here on earth. We actually sit with our mentors, with our guide, with our guidance counselor, and we decide what we want to go through when we come here, so we can try to to check some of our boxes on things we need to improve, to give us that higher moral value that we're looking for, right? So we actually made that choice. We sat and we made decisions to come. So we can say all we want, that how dare you send me this load of problems? How can you not see that it's too much for me? None of this is going to work because we chose that. So this is why we go through the problems we go through, because we chose that. We also talk about the things we want to endure, and the things we want to endure usually comes with some facilitators to make it happen. And the facilitators, like we talked about, are the people that cross our path. They are the ones who's going to be facilitating or making it super hard from the way we look at it, so we can learn the lessons we need to learn. And until we learn, those facilitators are going to keep on showing us the same path until we say, got it. Don't need to go through this again. So again, we chose, and we also chose the facilitators, because when you go through all the questions in the Spirit's book, it talks about the spirits that tend to stay together and help one another go through the process of growth together. So we tend to come here with the same group, our same crowd. Sometimes we are the mother, sometimes we're the daughter, sometimes we're the husband, sometimes we are the ones who cause them trouble, sometimes they are the ones who cause us trouble. Bottom line is, we all here to be facilitators for one another to go forward. And the other question that we talked about was related to, why would we choose painful things? It doesn't make sense. Maybe we can choose not so painful. We could, if we had the ability to think like Jesus would think. We're still not quite there. So we say we would like to take the less painful things. But when we are actually out of this physical body, we can see things and perceive we have a bigger view of the situation. Then we do choose to go through the painful things because we know it will be relevant for our growth. But when we get here, we tend to forget. Just short memory, that's what we have problems with. And another question that we talked about is why some people come here and they have mountains of problem and they go through it and they looks like they're breezing through it. And other people with tiny little problems, seems like tiny little problems, are having a hard time. Well, sometimes it's just perception. I might be looking at somebody, it looks like that person is breezing through the problems, but she might not be. She just looks calm, but inside she's struggling, she's going through stuff that we don't see because we're not inside that person. So just because it looks one thing, it doesn't mean it is that thing. But the main thing that happens is practice. Some of us have been here more times and used that time to learn than others. So in certain skills, we might be more efficient in going through the problems. In other skills, not so much. I know for a fact that my directional learning has a lot to improve, because I can get lost in a north, south, east, west. None of that works for me because I just don't have a GPS in my head. So I need practice, and I've been practicing. I still don't get there. But this would apply for all the little things that we learn. We know our talents, and we also know our struggles. We all there, and what seems easy for me might not be easy for the other person, and vice versa. And this is the nature of the experience. When you come here and you get a chance to experience, you get better. This is why we keep on coming back again and again and again. So the talking about what we established last week is the fact that if you are trying to blame somebody else for what you're going through, if you're trying to think that the load is too much for you, or I cannot handle this, or compare my problems to your problems and tell you how much harder it is for me, none of this is going to stick because of all the questions we saw before. We are here because we chose them. We are here going through them because we know they will help us get through the process and be in a better position within our growth. So all we have to do is make peace with that and have a little bit of compassion for where we are and say, okay, these are my shoes. They fit me fine, even though sometimes it's hard to walk in them, but they're mine. I cannot give my shoes to anybody to walk with them. They're mine. And they were tailored to my needs. When we were up there making that decision, we helped craft those shoes so we could come in them. This is what has been established. We can't push them away and try somebody else's shoes because those other shoes might look comfortable, but when you step in them, they're not going to be so comfortable because they're not yours. You don't feel at home. So a little bit of compassion, passion within, passion from your heart, not just towards yourself, but towards somebody else that is walking with their own shoes that might be feeling uncomfortable because they haven't made peace with their shoes. This is one thing. Some people walk through their whole life saying, it feels so hard. It's just, why me? Why me? Until you understand that this is your life that you chose and make peace with those shoes and start walking, that's how you break into them, right? They're a little tight, they're a little stiff, but as you keep on walking, they feel quite comfortable because they're yours. So today we're gonna explore something a little different. We have the compassion towards ourselves, compassion toward others, and then we say, okay, these are my shoes. I am going to walk with them. I made the decision. This is my life. I have to go through with this. So now I have to consider what else I want to do. Somebody will say, I can help you through your journey. And then I say, okay, I want your help, but I want you to help me my way. We tend to go there. So that's when this becomes the magic word. Surrender. Men and women who possess the sentiments of charity and love do good for the sake of goodness, without waiting for payment of any kind. They repay evil with good, take up the defense of the weak against the strong, and always sacrifice their own interest in the name of justice. That is a lot for us to just internalize. It is being there for others, being there for yourself, surrender to what is here, what was given to us, the life that we have in our hands. And when somebody offers to help, surrender to the help. It's like when your car breaks down and somebody shows up and says, I can help you because I've been there before. What is wrong with your car? I've lived with that before. I have no clue what that is, but I am still, the guy's trying to fix, let's say somebody shows up, stops on the side of the road and try to help me. The person is there digging in and really, it looks like he knows what he's doing. He's doing everything he can, and he told me, I can help you with this problem. And here I come, watching over his shoulder. Are you sure? Sure. Look, what about this? I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't understand cars. Why do I insist in watching over, breathing on his neck? Because I haven't done this. Surrender to the help that others are giving. We are good at giving advice to everybody, telling people what to do, not to do. But when it's our time to receive the help, we want to do it. You help me, but you help me my way. This is not surrender. Because the other person who is offering the help is offering without any expectations. So our job is to be graceful in the receiving. And that is something that we need to learn to do, especially as we plan to live long. Who here is planning to die young? Anybody? Okay, I have news for you. If you are planning to live a long life, chances are that you will need some caring, that somebody is going to have to hold your hand at one point or another. Maybe sit in a wheelchair to go to the doctor because it's kind of far and you don't have the endurance. If you plan on living longer, only 10% of us will go like that. Most of us are going to go slowly, having a little situation here and there. So it's going to take some learning to receive the help in a graceful way.
To ask as well, right?
Huh?
And to ask for help.
And to ask for help, yes. Because when you don't ask, you break a hip. You try to get out of bed when you shouldn't and you break a hip. So surrender. We start practicing now because it could be tomorrow that we need the help. But today, the way we practice is by offering to help somebody who is uncomfortable in their own shoes. This is the message. How can I help somebody get comfortable in their shoes? This is really, it's their shoes. I cannot walk their walk, but I can be there to support their walk. And one day they might have to hold my hand because my shoes are dragging because I don't have the energy. So we all have that going on for us. Okay, by saying that the kingdom of heaven belongs to the poor in spirit, Jesus teaches that no one will be admitted without simplicity of the heart and humility of spirit. That the ignorant person who possesses these qualities will be preferred to the wise person who believes more in himself than in God. In all circumstances, Jesus puts humility into the category of virtues that bring man near to God, and pride into the category of vices that keep man away from God. Again, surrender to the help that's coming your way. We all need to be humble towards the expertise of the others around us. The minute we understand that somebody might know a little bit more than I do about a certain thing and are willing to listen, sometimes a little kid can teach us a lot. Sometimes a person who didn't even go to school, cannot even read or write, might say something that you need to listen to, and that can shift your thought process. Nobody is above anybody. If a person comes our way, it's because that person has something to teach us. And if we're not listening, if we're not willing to surrender to the learning, we're not being humble. And that's when we are not walking in Jesus' shoes. We are walking our way in my shoes, even though they're stiff. And I'm not getting comfortable in my shoes. That would be like high heels, and I don't like high heels. Oop.
That's the second part.
What did I do here?
Go back. There you go.
Okay.
You're in the red.
Yes, the reason for this is clear. For to be humble is an act of submission to God, whereas pride is a revolt against him. For man, there is far greater value for his future happiness by being poor in spirit, as the world understands it, and rich in moral qualities. This is one thing that we're really thirsty for these days. Moral values. things have become normalized these days. People treat other people poorly. And because it happens so often, we are looking at it as, oh, no big deal. Everybody does it. Just because everybody is doing it doesn't make it right and doesn't make it an example for us. And just because nobody is doing the right thing doesn't mean it's out of fashion. We need to bring it back into fashion. And we need to teach our children. This is how it's done. Just because all the other people are doing different doesn't mean it's right. So the being rich here, it's been really addressed in this power these days, and we need to consider this. How much power do I need in this mundane world, and forgetting the power of the principles? Social media takes us to a very ugly place when it comes to principles. And we are here perceiving what others have to say. But people are only going to show what they want you to see, right? But the principles are not embedded in that post and things that they're showing. The principles are embedded in the actions. So you can post all the pretty things you want. When you go into treating others, when you go into relating to the elderly, to the children, to your, co-worker, if you're not applying that, all those wonderful postings don't really mean much. I am not into Facebook and all that stuff. And I was talking to a friend, and they are all anxious because there's a lot going on Facebook. I said, why don't you turn that thing off? But people have a hard time, unplugging, because I guess it's just they got so used to it. The same way we used to watch TV. The novella is starting, so we would turn the novellas on. Now nobody watches novellas anymore, but everybody is linked into the Facebook. And if Facebook is giving you anxiety and you hyperventilating, this is the sign to unplug. Let the phone just die. The message that I really wanted to bring today is, like we did last week, we did a meditation to get comfortable into finding our own shoes and start walking with them and understand these are mine. Even though I've tried to walk with somebody else's shoes, I try to walk with my own shoes and carry other shoes that people gave me and walk for them. I can't. You can't put shoe over shoe to walk for somebody. That's their journey. As a mother, I am guilty. Many a times I have tried to go through burdens so my kids wouldn't have to go through. But it didn't work. It did not work. So I can help, I can be there to support them, but I cannot walk their journey. And now, as our parents get a little older, and we want to help them, yes, we will be there and we will be that help for them, but we also cannot go through what they're going through. It's their journey. All we can do is support them. So again, in one spectrum and the other, either way we go, it's still everybody's journey, but our journey is to be surrendering into our steps and be supporting and surrendering into the help of the ones around us that need our help. So that is how we're gonna walk tall and walk with our boots, our high heels, our tennis shoes, our Converse, whatever we choose. But we walk with ours and we watch others walk with theirs. We can be help, we can be supportive, but each one of us have a journey ahead of us that we chose. And again, we cannot pass that along, because if we try to pass that journey along, what will happen is we're going to get stuck here, and when we come back, we're going to have to pick up from where we stopped. There is no jumping this grade. If you are in first grade, you got to go through it. and then you'll get to go to second grade. If we don't do this, all we got to do is to repeat next year. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to take advantage of this. So the goal is to surrender into the journey with the right shoes. And the shoes we have on right now are the right shoes. They might feel a little uncomfortable at times, feel a little tight, but they're ours. So that's where we're going to go. And today we're going to do another fun meditation, but I'm going to let Valdo talk a little bit, and then we're going to explore the surrender of walking in our shoes.
Real quick, do you guys get it? Make sense? One of the points that we mentioned in the previous slide here about walking in my shoes, man and woman who possesses the sentiments of charity and love, do good for the sake of goodness. So we have something so powerful within us that's so transforming, this charity. Not many of us understand the full meaning of charity. Perhaps that's why we don't practice charity as much, because we don't really understand, because usually it's just so material, right? And charity really, as we learn in the Spirit's book, the meaning of charity as Jesus understands charity is that you are benevolent. Means that we just do good, just like it says here in the Gospel according to Spiritism. And by the way, this is a fantastic chapter to read through, to study, to reflect, and to kind of apply. It's called the Be Perfect, item 3, the good person. And it goes on to the details, like we're just talking about being poor in spirit. And it's really for us to find those values inside of us. But charity means that we are benevolent. We just do good. We do good to ourselves. We do good to others. We're always looking for the positive side of things. That's the B part. The second part is indulgence. Indulgence in the sense of resignation. And I love this word, especially in English. It has such a profound meaning, to resign. To resign, it's exactly what surrender means. Once you surrender and you resign, it's that you are entitled to do many things. You have the right to do this or not to do that, if you put yourself in the center. Once you resign your rights, once you resign what you think is good for you, and you put yourself second, everybody else comes. The other, your loved ones, that one person, that person that you never met, that will just come into your... So this resignation, which is so embedded within charity, that's the motive for us to have compassion. The moment that we find ourselves that the world, it's not just about what we need, what we want, and what is good for us, but everybody else is just like us. We're just part of the same puzzle, right? And the last part of charity is forgiveness. So you're benevolent, you are indulgent to others, you resign yourself first, you don't put yourself first, and you forgive. We practice these 3 things together as being the poor in spirit and surrendering to God. And again, it's just why Jesus is our model and our guide. He says you don't need to worry. Every hair of our head,
Even the gray one.
Even the gray one, even the one that's not already there that fell, it's already counted by God. And it's not just with us, with everything in the world, with nature. Like there is not one sparrow in the air that's not known to God. So we have this power, this source. The sun will shine tomorrow, not just because we are great people, not just because we're so important for ourselves. It's because there is a supreme force, a power, and we need to surrender to that. Once we find ourselves, or just very simplistic, just put your chair, go to the beach, sit, and just put some music on, some nice, and just look how beautiful, how much the ocean will talk to you, or just look at the stars at night, or just stare at a tree. I was looking at a tree the other day. I was looking at the squirrels just up and down. I said, these squirrels are so messy. And then I had a conversation with one of the squirrels. I mean, I wasn't talking to the squirrel, right? I was actually having I was deep. I got into meditation there, and I was actually talking to the squirrel. I said, what are you doing? What are you up and down for? What's this so mess? And they're very hyper. And I was.
The problem is if his answer is back.
Exactly.
That becomes a problem.
But guess what? He did. He talked back to me. The squirrel talked back to me. And I was like, of course, for us spiritists, we know that what was happening there was actually a spirit there that was actually giving me advice. I was, there was a situation. So, but it was the squirrel talking back to me. And you know what the squirrel told me? You know what I'm doing? Why I go up and down this tree? So the tree knows how great she is, how important. Because the branches that are on top, they need to be connected to the roots that are on the bottom. And you know what? They produce so much fruits. Somebody needs to work that out. And that's why I'm here. So the tree knows that how important it is and that we are together. And I need the tree and the tree needs me. And together we make this special. That was my message. Was it? And that was and then the squirrel went away and I said, "Thank you, Mr. Squirrel."
Thanks for the message. That's good.
So let's do the meditation now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, everybody, note to self. If you need a message to the squirrels, you're going to have to reach out to this guy here because he's the man for talking to squirrels. Yay! Before we go there to this meditation, I need some release of the deep breath. My suggestion, if you have your mask on, you pull it on the bottom a little bit, take a deep breath in, and blow it out. So you have a little room for it. It's going down, so we should be fine. Okay? We're going to do 3 very deep breaths. Release, let it go. Like you mean it. Really let it go. Inhale. One more big one. If you have any kinks, need to move a little bit, this is the time. Move your arms, shake, hug yourself, do something and get comfortable in your chair. Sometimes the neck needs to move a little, shoulders roll a little bit, and then we're going to just drop and let everything just sit there. You can close your eyes if you want, or you can just look to a point on the floor ahead of you. We're going to start grounding ourselves right here, right now. Letting the hips get a little heavier in the chair. The shoulders sink a little bit. The breath goes in and out without any extra effort. Just making peace with what is now. This place where we are right now, has been prepared and protected to welcome us today. Grateful we are for all the mentors of this house, the mentors of this meeting, and our personal mentors that prepare this place for us. We now see this room, the whole building involved in a silver light that keeps us protected and ready for a journey within. We will now be transported to a dirty road right by the fork. It's unpaved and there are meadows around. It's a hot day. The dust is everywhere. We find ourselves sitting right by the road, looking at some shoes, trying to decide which ones are ours. Some of them look like shoes we had 10 years ago. I remember that. That was a fun time. As time went by, I had to switch them to something more appropriate for the journey. I look around and I spot my shoes. Those shoes that have helped me go through a lot of journeys. Good weather, bad weather, very bad, rough weather. But they're still my shoes. And I put them on. I'm back home. I put my shoes on and I am back home. Where my heart is comfortable, where my mind is quiet, where my soul is ready and confident that this journey will take me to a better place in my heart, in my mind, and in my soul. Slowly I stand up, look at the fork, which way do I go? It's still a very hot day, but I've got all I need. I've got my comfortable shoes. Take a deep breath. I look at the road again. And I look for guidance. And there is my mentor smiling at me. Ha, I knew you would be there. And he's just pointing that way. You know, that way. I smile back, thanking him, and I start walking. I walk tall and confident. I pick up the pace. I feel alive. I take deeper breaths and swing my arms as I pick up the pace. It feels so good. I start to trot a little bit. Maybe I can do it for a while. Maybe, just maybe, I can run a little bit. I see myself running. Huh. When was the last time I did this? It feels so good. And I run steadily. I feel the wind. Is it my impression? Or has the weather changed a bit? And I run. And I swing my arms. And I press my shoes into the dirt. And I feel alive. The wind picks up. The wind picks up. And the wind is super strong. The clouds come in. And I run. And I run. Feels like rain coming my way. I'm running and I feel the first drops and it feels so good. I feel alive. I'm walking into this rain, running, and the mud is being created as my shoes hit the dirt that is now muddy. I slow a little bit. Deep breaths. little slower, and I find myself walking, rain on my face, muddy shoes. I look at my shoes. They are pretty messed up, but they are mine. And I walk tall and confident, letting the rain come down my face, my chest, my back. And I keep on walking, steady pace, deep breaths, strong feet, muddy shoes. Step, 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 step. I start to notice some people in the surroundings. I notice how they walk. They also have muddy shoes. I watch their pace. Some go faster than me. Some are barely moving. I pick up my pace. I catch up with a good old friend. We step together. Step, 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 step. He picks up his pace and starts running. I keep my pace. Step, 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 step. And I slow it down. Step, step, step. And somebody catches up to me. And we both have muddy shoes. And we step together. Step, step, step. He wishes me well and tells me, go ahead, keep your pace. And I find myself again in my natural path, with my natural pace. Step, 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 step. I know I'm gonna go far. I know my shoes are gonna get muddy and heavy. but I know I will also find a river where I can wash my shoes, my body, and clean my soul. So I keep on walking at my pace, my steps, my muddy shoes. Rain or shine, this is my journey, and it is worth it. And I step, 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 step.
We ask the blessings of our spiritual mentors and our spiritual friends to be with us in this journey, and we ask them to reach out to those who are in a very difficult journey and bless them all. We're going to invite everyone for the passes. Our brother Tim is going to guide us through it.